You may recall last time we met, and just think back, November last year was an interesting and rather uncertain time. And I've got to say, even for Leadership Fiji, and you might recall I sent out a bit of a plea for help in last year's speech as we wondered about the future. We kind of got caught between rising prices, rapidly rising prices, and for us, of course, the end of the local specials at our hotels meant that our cost of running the operation was jumped significantly. And so we were really looking at 2023 with a bit of trepidation. Well, amazing what can happen in 12 months. Because I've got to say that probably 2023 has been one of the most exciting years in Leadership Fiji's history for a number of reasons. One, I want to thank, and I will acknowledge specifically a little bit later, the sponsors who've stepped forward, and we've had a real rush of support financially. In addition, with the opening up of the public space, if I can put it that way, we've seen much greater contact and involvement from our leaders across the community in terms of participating as speakers, and that's been wonderful and has really given this year's group an insight which other years, more recent years, may be a little bit jealous of. But long may that continue. And of course also with the growth and demand for training, really as a side effect of the loss of talent in Fiji, Leadership Fiji has been in high demand in terms of providing corporate training, and I will speak a little bit more about that a bit later. So all of this has come together and meant that it's been a highly successful year for Leadership Fiji. So just a few numbers. I usually provide you with a bit of a report card at this speech, a few numbers. Get the glasses on for this one. We estimate that after this year's graduation, we will hit 563 alumni for Leadership Fiji. And while on that subject, I thought and I promised the President I would tell a Madawata story about the alumni, and it's about a recent event actually, and just goes to show what a big impact we can have as an alumni. So just last weekend, Leone Vokai from LF21 and Nukumbati Resort, living out there in one of the more remote parts of Fiji. Certainly talk to Jenny about communications out there. It's not easy, as the President will know. So Leone has spotted across the bay from him a logging operation going on, and he wondered about whether this was legal and had been passed. So we sent a message out on the LF alumni network. Those of you on the Viber network might have spotted this. Sufi spotted it actually while we were in our closing retreat, sent a message. Her first reaction was to, of course, get our Honourable Filimoni share his phone number. But fortunately, sitting next to him as our special guest was the Permanent Secretary for Women, and Eseta, Nanda Kuitavuki, and she said, well, no, hang on a minute. Don't bother feeling about this. Let's get the permanent secretaries involved. Here's the permanent secretaries for lands, for the environment, and for forestry. And Leone was onto all of them, and literally within the hour, investigations had started, and I understand action has been taken and the logging has been suspended. So that's an example of what the Leadership Fiji alumni can do. Exercise real leadership and make real change, even in the remotest parts of Fiji. So I'm really excited about that story. As I mentioned, we welcomed some new partners, and we really want to thank all of them, but we also welcomed a new program coordinator today, and I want to acknowledge Mira, who's here tonight, and Mira is really added a great emphasis and a real punch to this year's group. She started halfway through the year, taking over from Veronica, Veronica Nawanga, who stepped in. And Veronica, of course, has been a great supporter of Leadership Fiji, LF 2015, and she stepped in to help Shireen for a short period of time when our previous coordinator left suddenly. And so Veronica stepped in, and then we welcomed Mira, and I'm really happy to have you join us, Mira, and you've been a real blessing for Leadership Fiji. And wonderful to have a Filipino Fijian in the team. That's great. Not the first Filipino Fijian to actually participate in Leadership Fiji, but yeah, welcome, Mira, and I want to say a special thank you to you. Now, to get to some of those financials, I did mention that we had some real issues at the end of last year, and so we sent out an appeal for help, and I'd like to acknowledge the following who stepped forward on top of our regular partners who all agreed. Many have agreed, in fact, to increase their levels of sponsorship to match the inflation rate, so we really appreciate that. But we welcomed the Fiji Development Bank, Kontiki Finance, McDonald's Fiji, the RB Patel Group, Vision Investments Limited, Star Printree. And we had a number that rejoined as well, Port Denera Marina and Telecom Fiji, who we also did quite a bit of corporate training for. And I also want to especially acknowledge the ongoing and tremendous support we get from Fiji Water, who increased their level of support in the last year in response to our requests. So we had to create a special level for them. We've acknowledged that they are our one and only diamond sponsors. So a very special thanks to Fiji Water for your ongoing support. We will, in the coming year, our next step is that we do intend to add another person to the Leadership Fiji team. And so that's something that we've got on as a plan. It looks like we've got the money for it now, which is fantastic. And that person will assist Shireen in coordinating programs, particularly those ones outside of the core event or core program, but also assisting the alumni, which we see as growing rapidly under its new leadership. Chris, where are you, Chris? Somewhere here tonight. And so Chris and his team are really doing a wonderful job of really reinvigorating the alumni. And so we expect that person to also help there. So that's something that is going to be exciting for the coming year. We also acknowledge Rajesh Patel, who's led the Leadership Fiji Community Fund, and this additional person will help in really getting that moving and get in the new year. So those of you not aware, we established the Leadership Fiji Community Fund, is now actually formally a trust, and that has funds which have been given to us by various philanthropists and can be used by alumni to undertake various projects around Fiji, leadership change projects. So as we always say, leadership is about action. It's not a position. It's about taking action and driving change right across Fiji. I've got to also note that we will be increasing our training programs, and we look forward to that, particularly with the improved relationship with various arms of government. We are really looking forward to growing our prefect training program in the coming year, at the start of the year. So if any of you are involved in a high school or even a primary school, and you feel that you would like us to come along and offer prefect training and part of that induction process at the start of 2024, please get in touch with Shireen and the team. And that is something that we will seek to involve the alumni, so seeking volunteers also for you to help conduct that training and offer, and it's a great way for you to pay it forward a little bit for all the effort that we put into you, by the way. Okay, time for you to put some of that effort into others. All right, so no pressure. I'm just being nice about it. Shireen is coming, okay? You know how good she is at voluntolding people. Okay, all right. And so we've actually, getting up to pretty close to 1,000 high school prefects have undertaken that program. I mentioned that we've done quite a bit of corporate training this year, so just to add a number here, and Shireen had given me a number for that, and I believe it's 252 people have gone through our corporate training program this year. So that's another 250 on top of the other groups of people that have had exposure to Leadership Fiji and to our philosophy about leadership and about driving change right across the community. We also ran a very short Leading with Purpose training program last month right here at the Holiday Inn, and that we had 50 people turn up for that. And so that's the first of that. We expect that to be an annual event, one in which just ordinary members of the community can step forward and come and partake in our training. And that is something that we want to continue. And finally, I would add that we've also, over the last 3 years, we've been involved with the Australia Awards Scholars Alumni. So this is an organization that represents Fiji graduates of Australian programs. And they've come back to Fiji, and we've been running a program with them to help them exercise leadership and to maximize the impact of their education in bringing about change across the community. And it's been a very exciting one, that one. And we've got another program that's about to start as well. So all of this is adding up to a very busy time for our group of Shireen and her team. And so special acknowledgement, I've got to say, to Shireen herself for the hard work and the commitment that she's shown to Leadership Fiji. Thank you, Shireen, for all your work. So quick summary, this year LF23 has had 18 sessions, 5 advocacy challenges. They had a total of 186 speakers and facilitators, and that doesn't take into account all their travels around the country. Numerous travels around Viti Levu, and of course now our northern trip, which is always a highlight. So it's been a busy year,